Zoro versus Sanji is a debate many fans of the One Piece community often get into. Ever since both characters' introduction in the series, and seeing them constantly go back and forth with each other throughout the series, it leaves the question of if these two actually fought, who would win? Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment to let me know your thoughts and opinions, and with all that being said, let's get started with the video. Now, a quick side note, I won't be talking about Zoro and Sanji pre-time skip because I feel that talking about them pre-time skip and post-time skip would make this video about like 40 minutes, and like I always say, I never want my videos to feel too long and I never want them to feel too short. I know I say this a lot and I do apologize. If you guys want me to start making the longer videos, you can definitely let me know in the comments and I'll try and do that. But I just want to make sure that my videos aren't too long or too short, so that's pretty much it. Anyways, though, I'll be going over Zoro and Sanji specifically in the Wano arc, since this is the arc where both Zoro and Sanji have really good feats, and they're pretty much at their best, excluding the Egghead arc, which is the current arc right now that's going on in the manga. So, yeah. Anyways, I'll be using statements and other things that give a gauge of how strong they are. But other than that, that's all the pre-scaling stuff out of the way. So let's go. To start off with, Zoro tells Nami that with every island that the Straw Hats visit, all of them become more powerful. This fits with one of the arguments I'm going to talk about later in the video, but just for those that don't think Sanji gets stronger until he gets his raid suit, he actually does. Zoro and Sanji are always both butting heads with each other, and both seen doing combined attacks and moving seemingly equal with each other multiple times throughout the series. There's also the statement from Queen who says how Zoro and Sanji are the second and third best fighters in the Straw Hat Pirates crew. So I'm pretty sure everyone already knows this, and this has been consistent for pretty much the whole series so far. So there is a reasonable case to ask who between these two is really stronger and why. Anyways, in Zoro's Viva cards, he has some statements that show how strong he is and how he's gotten since the time skip. In one of his Viva cards, it states, and I quote, "The Straw Hat Pirates have infiltrated Wano country. Zoro is also hiding out until he gathers his allies and prepares for battle. Co Haka, it will be a substitute over there. Zoro, who has been charged with vandalism, is currently on the national wanted list in Wano. Where are you hiding? However, even in Wano, which is said to be full of strong men, Zoro's swordsmanship is unmatched, is alive and well. It seems that he is taking back his assassin one after another." End quote. So even after the time skip, Zoro's swordsmanship hasn't dwindled, and is just as strong, if not stronger, than during the pre-time skip. In another of his Viva cards, it says, and I quote, "He has turned his 3 swords into black blades and slays all who stand in his way. After undergoing fierce training from his archenemy Mihawk or the 7 warlords, he joined the gang. He has mastered the Haki, which has improved his strength and made him even more dependable. After entering the New World, he instantly defeated the strongest swordsman on Fisherman's Island, and also defeated the top leaders of the Don Conquistador family, becoming a great swordsman in both name and reality. He has the ability to analyze situations without losing his mind even when danger looms, and the indomitable spirit to overcome any adversity. The Haki that he acquired after abstaining from alcohol during his training, by putting it on his swords, all the other swords except Akimizu's become unbreakable black swords. He became huge, and furthermore, he cut Pika in half, clad in armament colors. Once defeated by Mihawk, he sublimated it into a swordsmanship unparalleled 2 years ago. Defeating opponents with his spirit, he showed his superiority by rendering natural ability players inactive without using his Haki." End quote. So Zoro now has access to Haki that he uses and coats his swords with. He has all 3 types of Haki: armament, observation, and Conqueror's Haki. Not to mention, he can also imbue Conqueror's Haki into his swords, which will qualify him to have advanced Conqueror's Haki, which also is able to damage Kaido. Zoro was also able to damage Hawkins, who is somewhat durable enough to take some of Kizaru's laser beams from point blank range pre-time skip, which are light. Zoro also fights and one-shots Killer with his 3-sword style Purgatory Onigiri technique. He battles against King and then Kaido for a bit as well. When it comes to some of his fights in Wano, Zoro was using the sword Enema. This sword releases and drains the user of their Haki. Zoro was having difficulty controlling this during his fight with King. And speaking of King, he's a Lunarian, which is a race that is not only extinct, but is known for having high durability. And Zoro was able to eventually defeat him despite the disadvantages he had. One of the highlights from this fight that was very impressive for Zoro was that he was able to figure out how King's defenses work, stating how when his flames are on his back, He's very durable but slower, but when they're extinguished, his defensive ability drops and he becomes faster. Zoro also stated during the fight that if he didn't figure out how King's powers worked, then he would have lost. And during the rooftop battle on Onigashima, Zoro was able to block a combined attack from Kaido and Big Mom that was so powerful. Not only would it have killed Luffy, Kid, Law, and Zoro, but it also destroyed a small portion of the island as well. Now that I've talked about Zoro, his statements, and the feats that he's done, let's switch gears and talk about Sanji and see what he has to offer. Sanji has access to armament and observation haki, and in one of his Viva cards it states, and I quote, Barate, the chef of the Straw Hat Pirates, who trained under Foot Zeph as a deputy chef. He never uses his sacred hands for anything other than cooking ingredients, respects women, and never raises his hand even if they are enemies. With pride instilled in him by Zeph, he has honed his skills both in cooking and in combat to be top-notch. Sanji, who has earned the nickname of Black Legs, will show off his skills today in order to satisfy the crew's stomach. End quote. So it states that Sanji's combat is top-notch, which means excellent or of the highest quality. Because he only uses his legs to fight, couple this with that previous statement, and Sanji is stated to be one of, if not the best leg-only combatant so far in the entirety of One Piece, which is true given all the incredible feats he's done. He can cover his leg in flames, which makes his attack stronger and faster. And Sanji himself states that with his passion, his flames can potentially burn hotter than actual fire could, although this could just be him hyping his own self up or his own opinion and it could not actually be true. But for the sake of the video, we'll just say that this is true. Sanji also has insane regeneration, having broken bones all over his body and immediately regenerating them. Queen even comments on this and says Sanji has abnormal regeneration. Aside from his regeneration, Sanji also has very good durability, with him cutting Queen's sword just by it being swung on his neck. Sanji also has great physical strength, being able to take down Queen with relative ease once he actually tries to beat him. Sanji even has the ability to turn completely invisible, being unable to be detected while doing so. Sanji can also increase his power and abilities further with his Germa Raid suit, which is an amp that was great enough to allow him to temporarily clash with King. As for his invisibility, it's unclear if one is able to see Sanji while he's invisible with observation haki or advanced observation haki. No one has done it yet so far in the series, but I think that they could. I'm not sure, but we'll just say that maybe they can. I don't know. Anyway, Sanji also manages to make King bleed with a combination attack with Zoro, although King was off guard. And with this out of the way, we can answer who is stronger and who would win if these two fought each other. For one of Zoro's win cons, he would have to beat Sanji as fast as possible if he is using Enma. He most likely will, because this is Wano Zoro that we're talking about. This will be difficult though, because Sanji is just as fast as Zoro is, and his regeneration is crazy. Not to mention Sanji's fighting style is of the highest quality or excellent, and Zoro's 3-sword style is also mastered and very refined as well. So their AP should also be within the same ballpark of each other, with Zoro being a bit stronger since he damaged Hybrid Kaido and left a permanent scar on him, and damaged Hawkins, who tanked some of Kizaru's lasers. Not saying Zoro has AP on the level of Kizaru or the Admirals. I'm saying he damaged someone who 2 years prior tanked some of Kizaru's beams before getting defeated. If Zoro can't land some sort of definitive blow on Sanji before Enma drains him of his haki, then he will lose. Zoro's second win condition is if he can use his Ashura technique on Sanji. I'm sure you all can agree that Sanji's durability isn't on the same level as Kaido's, and this technique was powerful enough to leave a permanent scar on Hybrid Kaido when pretty much Luffy, Kid, and Law's attacks weren't doing anything to him. This attack was also infused with Conqueror's haki, so if he is able to hit this on Sanji, it would be able to put him down. Other than that, there isn't really anything else I can think of that could help Zoro win. If I forgot anything, let me know down below in the comments, and let's talk about Sanji. Now, Sanji is a bit better because of his hacks. In his base, he was able to pretty much no-sell attacks from Queen, who was using the tech and techniques from Sanji's family, and even when he did take damage, he just instantly regenerated and kept fighting. So his abilities will definitely give him a good fighting chance against Zoro, especially since Zoro is on a timer and would have to beat him as fast as possible before his haki gets drained. The only way I see Sanji winning is if he uses his Germa suit, which gives him a very good stat increase and also increases the potency of his abilities as well. He can also go invisible, and as we've seen so far in the series, with Queen not being able to sense him at all. This should buy Sanji enough time to maybe use his combo attack on Zoro and maybe do some serious damage to him. It's kind of difficult thinking of more win cons for Sanji as well, since he only really fought Queen during Wano, and we haven't really seen him do as much as Zoro did in the arc. In my opinion, I do think Zoro could get a win here with mid to high difficulty, since he was able to defeat King, and also damage and speed blitz hybrid Kaido with his Ashura technique, and he also has advanced Conqueror's Haki, which he can use to coat his swords with, which also increases his AP. And his AP is further increased just by using Enma, as it's stated, to slash more than needed. Sanji does have the hacks, which make it very difficult to get rid of him quickly, but Zoro should be able to use his intellect and fighting prowess to figure out how Sanji's abilities work, and how to counter them as shown in his battle with King. But as I always say, this discussion is left up to you all down below in the comments. And with that pretty much said, that wraps up everything I want to talk about with Zoro and Sanji. In my opinion, I do think Zoro could win. But anyways, rereading the Wano arc was pretty much fun. And I'm glad I got to talk about Zoro and Sanji, since I've always wanted to talk about them for a while now. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below to let me know your thoughts and opinions. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.